If you could do only one thing to live a greener life, what would it be? I believe the secret to living the greenest life possible is to be a minimalist, to buy as little as possible, to consume as little as possible, and to simplify your life in a meaningful way that places value on what really matters, our relationships with other people and our experiences of the world. Join me on this fun quest for a minimalist lifestyle. After getting my degree to become a professional organizer, I decided to explore several different organizing techniques, and one that I especially loved was the KonMari method with Marie Kondo. Now, you probably have heard of this. It was really popular back maybe about a decade or so ago, and it became an absolute craze, like the art of tidying up and discarding items that don't spark joy. But I find everything she talks about to be incredibly true. Stuff does not equal happiness, and once we can escape this idea that stuff equals happiness, we can really start living life to the fullest. And that's why I believe the first step to living the greenest life possible is to remove. The first R in my 10R step program is to remove items from your home that are either no longer serving a purpose, items you no longer want, and anything that is environmentally harmful. So let's get to it. I've been blogging recently about trying to live the greenest life possible, and I believe the first step is to get organized and to declutter. And here's a quote from Douglas Horton: "Materialism is the only form of distraction from true bliss." And I have found this to be incredibly true, because back in 2015, when I was getting ready to go overseas, I had a fully furnished 3-bedroom house that I barely used anything in there. I was rarely home anyways because I worked all the time, and I got rid of everything. Like a fully furnished 3-bedroom house, all of it gone. And whatever was left, I could fit in the back of my Buick. And it was the most exciting and liberating experience of my life. So after doing a little research about the KonMari method, I decided to break down the steps into some easy, manageable ones for achieving a more minimalist lifestyle. I like to go room by room, and I'll go into more detail about my organizing process in another video. But in a nutshell, you need to prepare the area that you'll be scaling back on. So make sure you have a space that's clean. If you have a cluttered room, maybe clean out a little corner where nothing's being used so that you can stack things that you're either keeping or getting rid of. I like to clean the space as I go and tidy it up just because it makes it a lot easier, and things can get pretty dusty, so I always have a vacuum on hand. And then as I go through my piles of items to discard, I can put them into categories: items to sell, items to donate, items to repair, items to recycle, and items to discard. Now, my goal is to discard as little as possible. I wanted to become a professional organizer to help people organize their stuff without having to throw it into the trash can. So that's the step that I'm currently kind of stuck on, was what do we do with stuff that needs to be discarded? That's essentially trash. Now, after you've organized your piles and you have things to sell, there are a multitude of ways to sell. You can sell on eBay, you can sell on Amazon, you can sell on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, you can have yourself an old-fashioned yard sale. There are many ways to sell things. I've brought lots of used clothing to different thrift stores, and I don't have a lot of luck because most of what I wear is pretty out of style, but I have managed to make a couple of bucks. If you don't want to sell, another option is to donate. So recently I've been helping people organize their closets and their pantries. And when I come across food that is unopened and not expired, I donate it to local charities. But unfortunately, a lot of these charitable organizations get a lot of junk dumped on them. For example, don't bring food that's opened or any kind of cans that have been punctured or dented. Call first to check what kind of food they need. If you're bringing clothing items, make sure they're in good condition and that they're not stained or torn. If something is stained or torn or otherwise unfit for people to use, don't dump them on a donation. Put them in a box to repair them, or put a free sign on them and see if people will just take them away. Other items that get donated need to be clean, nothing that can grow mold. I've been told from more than one organization that no children's car seats because they're often recalled or updated. When in doubt, you can call and you can check and see which items they need the most. After the winter solstice, I purged my home and got rid of a ton of stuff. I sold a few things, I donated a few things, put some in a box to repair, and gave away others for free. And I'm saving that box of items to discard because I'm trying to start an upcycling business and see if I can turn trash into treasure. So why do I believe that minimalism is the first step to green living? Well, a couple of reasons. When you look at what's contributing to climate change, like burning fossil fuels and various industries in charge of construction and infrastructure and things like that, all of this is a form of consumption. We're constantly consuming things, whether it's food or water or other natural resources or just junk. It's so easy to accumulate just mountains of junk. And the more we buy, the more that needs to be produced. And a lot of it is produced overseas, which means it's going to be shipped to wherever it's going to be sold, which is just burning more fossil fuels. By saying no to excess shopping altogether, you cut out all of those factors. By limiting and scaling back, it's easier to focus on the items that you already own, because the items we own have to be updated, they have to be repaired, they have to be taken care of. It's a vicious cycle of having to buy more stuff to go with the stuff that you already have. And I've found that scaling back and owning a handful of items that are really important to me has brought me so much more happiness than the mountains of junk that I had to get rid of. Removing items from your home, it's not just stuff that you don't want anymore, it's also environmentally harmful items, which I'm going to get more in detail about whenever I talk about step 2, which is to reduce. So there are a lot of products that you can remove from your home altogether, including single-use products. A lot of single-use plastics like coffee cups, plastic straws, plastic bags, these serve no purpose but once, and then they end up in a landfill where it takes forever for it to decompose. See what you can scale back and what can be reused. There are a lot of harmful cleaners, and anything with toxic chemicals is going to go into our waterways and potentially our drinking water. So don't forget to check the ingredient list on the back and consider some of the more eco-friendly brands. Aerosol cans, we've known for a long time, use hydrocarbons and compressed gas to work. These are terrible for the environment. Skip them altogether. Pesticides and herbicides, of course. If you have a garden, why would you dump something poisonous on it? In a future video, I'll talk about organic herbicides and pesticides and ways to control pests that are not environmentally harmful. And finally, dryer sheets. They smell nice, but these are artificial chemicals used to make them that way, and they've been linked to numerous health problems. So if you can skip it, do so. I can't wait to begin my career as a professional organizer and help others scale back and see what they can get rid of and how they can simplify their lives and pursue greener lifestyles. I'm so excited and I'm looking forward to it. I hope you join me. Bye.